many people do you usually have?
Between 200 and 300, like during the whole course.
Nice.
Anyways, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Olivia Rondo. Um, Today we have on a very, very special guest, someone who I've been following on Twitter for a bit. It's Libertarian Redhead. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you talk about.
Hi, I am Libertarian Redhead, one of the many Libertarian Redheads on Twitter. So,
I'm gonna ask you about that.
oh man.
I need y'all to
Okay.
explain yourselves.
The Ginger Committee is being called to the floor.
Yeah, literally.
I have a Facebook page, so some of you might know me from there. I've had it since, gosh, 2017, I guess. I've identified as a libertarian since I was a teenager. And before I knew what that was called, I still kind of knew that I didn't really belong in either large political camp. So I just sort of thought I was politically homeless. And then I discovered the great Ron Paul and was like, oh, this is what I am. Okay, this makes way more sense now. So I have been a libertarian since about 2009. I have since then become an official member of the Libertarian Party in 2017 or 2018 is when I joined. And I've enjoyed it immensely in a lot of ways. It's given me a lot of opportunities. I love to talk to people about liberty and share liberty with people. But the cause that is probably the closest to my heart is helping candidates win races and working campaigns. I've worked with Gary Johnson. I've worked with Joe Jorgensen. I've worked a lot of smaller races like school board and city council, and I just try to pitch in and volunteer where I can. And now we're working on a unity coalition with some other libertarians, so that's going to be really fun. And in my spare time, I like to garden, and I have an 8-year-old son, and I also like to make TikToks about history, and a lot of them are just me ranting about how much I hate Woodrow Wilson.
The last part is very, very relatable. If you're watching and you like Woodrow Wilson, please get out. Please get out of the chat. Please go away. I want to ask you about the unity thing. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so Liberty Unity, it started kind of as an idea for a potential caucus, and then we decided to make it not a caucus. And that kind of ties into the main question I think that you were going to ask me tonight. We wanted to form a group that was sort of that anybody in the Libertarian Party or the Liberty Movement felt that they could join, and that they didn't have to be a member of the Libertarian Party, even though we do want to focus on libertarian candidates and helping them get elected and helping share that libertarian message. We weren't going to really, I guess, demand that people be a certain kind of libertarian. So if they wanted to form an issue coalition with us, or if they liked a particular candidate that we also liked and were helping, and they just wanted to kind of jump on board for a little while and help us help that candidate, then that's totally okay. It's very much just a come as you are group, and that we're just trying to make everything within the Libertarian Party and within the Liberty Movement more positive.
Okay, I like that a lot. And that actually leads me to my next question. On Twitter, you've posted about being a quote unquote non-denominational libertarian, and that really intrigued me because I think you actually posted this in response to a post I made about how I used to kind of want to self-identify as a paleo-libertarian because I'm the type of libertarian that really I value culture and American values and things like that. But I also don't like the government. I hate the state. I hate it. And like for a while, I didn't like really publicly like go around and introduce myself like, hello, I'm a paleo libertarian. But I was like, is that the best thing, to describe me? And, I did some research and I got a little bit more into the community. And I'm not trying to generalize here, but some of these people have kind of fucked up views on race and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't feel welcome here. You guys are like kind of like a weird like libertarian like alt-right type shit when like that's not really what I wanted. Like and so you had responded, just become like a non-denominational libertarian, like we have a big tent here, and I want to hear more about that. So when you think of, or when you're a non-denominational libertarian, what does that mean to you?
So it's kind of like if you're familiar with the different churches that exist within Christianity. Like you could say that there's Southern Baptist, and there's Church of Christ, and there's the Apostolic Church, and there's Lutheran, and there's all different kinds of things, Presbyterian and Catholic, and everything is kind of tied to that idea of, a Christ figure, but they practice in vastly different ways. They have vastly
Mm,
different ideologies. And I feel like calling myself a non-denominational libertarian is sort of the same way as saying I'm a non-denominational Christian if I were one. And to me, that means that I'm probably never going to permanently align myself with one caucus over another. Whether it's I mean, I share a lot of ideology with several different caucuses, and I have a
sure.
lot of the same goals as several different caucuses. Like it's all an overlapping Venn diagram to me. But then there are some things about the caucus structure that I don't like. The tribalism that it encourages, the infighting that it
Mm,
encourages, the
mm,
oh, if you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality. Like, I don't like that. So I feel that being a non-denominational libertarian makes the most sense for me because it allows me to align with a caucus that is backing a candidate that I like, or that is championing a ballot access bill in a state where they have a presence, or they are, I don't know, championing some kind of issue that I'm also passionate about. And it could be three different caucuses doing those things. I don't want to I don't want to walk into the Mises caucus and say, "Hey, I'd really like to help this candidate," and they'd be like, "Ew, you're a prag." Or like, I
mhm.
don't want to do the same thing with the Prag caucus. I don't want to walk in and be like, "Hey, I'd love to help you with this project," and they're like, "Ew, you're a radical," or whatever. Like, I don't want any of that. And I'm not
Is
saying that
that
either of those
common?
groups.
Like, does that happen to you, or does that happen to people?
I feel like that. I feel like once you become part of a caucus and you become part of that culture of the caucus, that they kind of have some expectation of loyalty from you. Like,
Mm.
well, we're backing this chair candidate. You have to vote for them. Like, if you don't vote for them, there's going to be problems afterwards, or whatever.
People
Like,
will come after you for if you don't vote for every candidate they back.
I don't know. That's why I left
Yeah,
all the caucuses.
that's some weird
I just,
tribalist shit.
and it might be, self-assigned, like I'm kind of taking that on when that's not really the case. But also there are things about them that I don't want to be expected to defend either as a member of that caucus that I might not agree with. I might love, this half of their platform and their goals on the caucus, but then I might have a really big problem with one of them. It doesn't mean I don't want to help them accomplish all these other goals, but it just means that I don't want to have to defend the actions of something that I don't agree with. Or I don't want to have to go around and say, oh, well, but not all of us. No, well, not
Mhm.
all of us think that. I don't want to have that conversation 10 million times. I'd rather just say, yeah, I align with them on these things. I help them with these projects, but that's about it.
Right. That's exactly how I feel about joining a party in the first
Mhm.
place. So you said you were a registered libertarian.
Mhm.
How do you reconcile that? Because like you said, there is a lot of infighting, a lot of tribalism, a lot of stuff between the caucuses, and I'm sure it's very present within the whole party as well.
It is. The Libertarian Party's goal as a political party is to get libertarian candidates elected. And that's what I care about the most.
Mm,
So it gives me access to helping these candidates. It gives me access to knowledge. It gives me access to other people who have the same goals that I have because we are going to the same meetings and we care about the same things. And if I wasn't a part of that party, but I still existed on social media, I might miss out on some of that. And I do think it's important. I mean, if everybody who disagreed with the internal infighting within the Libertarian Party left the Libertarian Party, there wouldn't be a party. Like it wouldn't exist. And then it wouldn't accomplish
true.
its goal. So I've always been of the mind that if you want to change, like it's one thing to sit back and criticize it, but if you really do want to change it and you have a vested interest in changing it, join it and change it. Like,
Mm,
in a party structure, you have power as a delegate to make decisions in the party to pass or turn down bylaw amendments, to elect officers, and different things like that. If you were not part of that party structure and you were just sitting back on your couch being a keyboard warrior, then that wouldn't change anything.
yeah, and I'm definitely guilty of being a little bit of a keyboard warrior sometimes because I'm an
We all
independent,
are. I
so
mean, we all
I'm
have been
always
through
criticizing
2020.
parties. But yeah,
We've all been locked
true.
in our houses for like a year.
That's very true.
It's
Let me
fine.
put a couple comments on the screen to read. Never brand yourself as part of some category. In 2015, alt-right meant unorthodox right. The orthodox right eagerly accepted Hillary and the corporate press's race-centric framing. I definitely agree. Alt-right, the definition of alt-right has definitely changed. And I don't even really like to use that term. That was just like for the lack of a better term, I had to describe some, not all paleo-libertarians. I follow a couple paleo-libertarians, and they're not racist. I don't want to go around accusing everybody who follows the ideology of being racist, because people do that shit to me all the time and I hate it. It's just like being in certain paleo-libertarian spaces and researching on Rothbard himself, and some of his views on race and segregation, things like that. It really turned me off. But I have really nothing against anyone that self-identifies with that. It just it didn't align with my views as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I take,
Yeah.
because I do a lot of content that has to do with history. Like I tweet things about history. I tweet, but I don't know, just different things. I make
Right.
TikTok videos about history. I just started a history podcast. So I'm always thinking about those things and trying to put them into context. And basically what I've discovered is that you can take any person that anyone holds up as a hero or a villain, and you can dive into their personal life, any historical figure at all, and you can find that there is always a duality. Like
Very true.
no one is ever all bad, like literally ever. Some of the worst people in history have been great fathers, have been great mothers, have cared about their families, have done terrible things to protect their families, and or they've been kind to animals, or like anything. So, and then some people that people hold up as heroes have done some really terrible things as well, or they've been a champion of a certain cause, like Abraham Lincoln. He's championed as the great emancipator, but he also shipped 450 Black people to Haiti and was just like, you
He
guys
was a
should just support your
racist.
own country.
He was a racist. He
And
was a
it's like,
racist for
um,
sure.
that's not really okay either.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, I feel like you can do that with anybody in history. So it is important to put it into context. Context doesn't excuse everything, of course. And there's no way for us to remove our modern lens and say, well, if I lived in 1861, this is how I would feel about it. Because there's so much cultural and societal conditioning
Right.
that happens when you're a kid that you really don't know what you would have thought of that in the
Exactly.
1860s or the 1790s or whatever period of history you're talking about.
It's like when people talk about like the Revolutionary War and they're like trying to figure out, oh, I would have been a loyalist, I would have been a patriot. I'm like,
Mhm.
you probably wouldn't have done shit, first of all.
Right. You'd have been
Like
that guy
you're
who would
on
have
your
been like,
ass
I
right
don't want any
now.
trouble, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the
Um,
ultimate libertarian position,
Very
if you
true.
think about it.
My one point I wanted to reply to your comment on context was if it was Rothbard and he had, let's say he had a different scandal in the past. Let's say he had a scandal. Let's say the worst thing. Let's say he had a scandal with like sexual assault or something.
Mhm.
I could still separate his political ideas and policy from that. But because the race thing was so political, I don't think I can remove that from paleo-libertarianism, because it's such a central part of his doctrine and such a central part of the community. I feel like the only thing that a lot of paleo-libertarians talk about, and again, I'm not trying to generalize here, but the only thing that they really say that differentiates themselves from the rest of libertarians is like the race shit.
Mhm.
For me, I think culture is much more important than race. Identity and stuff like the biggest thing in my
Mhm.
mind when I'm thinking about promoting liberty. But the reason I decided to initially start to look into identifying as that was my opinion on immigration, which people call me a fake libertarian for all the time.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people, including myself, including yourself, including probably half the people in the comments who are self-identified as libertarian, are very conflicted over the issue of immigration. Some people are, very absolutist about it. Some people are like, no more immigration ever, not now, not ever. Some people
Mhm.
take it way too far, saying immigration from like white countries, only like European. I'm like, hold on, chill.
Yikes.
That's a lot of stuff I've experienced in some online paleo libertarian spaces that I was just like, yeah,
Mhm.
you're not a libertarian, dude.
Right.
And then some people are complete like open borders. Some people self-identify as a globalist. I think there's merits to all these arguments. Um, But I wanted to ask you, and not to like make a definitive statement on like the whole immigration issue, but like, but what are your thoughts on this? Is there an issue that makes somebody not a real libertarian? Is it immigration? Because I've heard that so many times, you know?
So to go back to your point about Rothbard, there are certain things that even with context, you can't really separate, you know, the effects of, like, let's say we said, you know, who from Germany was like, well, he didn't really hate the Jews. It's like, yeah, but he just did all this other stuff that led to like 6 million people dying. So we really
Right.
can't use that. So there
Yeah,
are some things that context can't totally be removed from the equation. Um, and that I completely agree with. Like, there are some things that just cannot be separated, and it depends on the person, it depends on the time period, it depends on the issue that you're talking about. It's just different, it's shades of gray really for everything.
for sure.
And you just have to do your best to sorry, I just saw one of the comments. You just have to do your best to evaluate each thing, you know, on its own, because you can't really say that it's all one blanket thing for everybody and it's all applicable in the same ways for everyone. Now, as far
Absolutely.
as immigration, the Libertarian Party platform says we are open borders libertarians. There
Hmm.
are still some people who have joined the party that are not totally open border libertarians. And there is still some discussion within party circles of, well, what does that mean? Like, how open borders are we really? Are we totally
I
open
keep asking
borders?
that question, and no one wants to give me a straight answer, or people give
Because
me
we're all
different
different,
answers.
honestly. It's just like the abortion question. They all want to
That's
know,
true.
well, are libertarians actually pro-life or actually, you know, pro-choice?
Right.
Well, the answer is we're both. And it's the
Hmm.
same for immigration. It's the difference between leaving the door all the way open and leaving it halfway open. That's really it.
Hmm.
Um, Personally, now the discussion of the right to immigrate is different than the discussion around when it is appropriate to implement that open border policy. And I think that's where a
Hmm.
lot of people get confused. They're just like, well, we should just open the borders, like, period. And it's like, well, but we have a very large welfare state.
I'm like, now of all times, y'all want to open the borders now? And
Right.
then when people dig in, they're like, okay, we need to abolish the welfare state first, and then we open
Mhm.
borders. I'm like, okay, that argument does have some merit.
It does have some merit. But then when you start looking at how long that would actually take, it's not practical, because you're talking about a process that could take 50 plus years, and that's with consistent work to get it
Hmm.
done. This is
Which
not a
doesn't
system.
happen in
This is
politics.
not a
Which
system
doesn't
that you can
happen.
just sign an executive order and be like, okay, we're done, everything's solved, because it's not. Like, that doesn't take care of all the people who are in the pipeline. It doesn't take care of the lottery system. It doesn't take care of the kids in cages that, you know, have been removed from people who are not actually their family members, or people who have been removed from people who are their family members. Like, okay, now we have to relocate these children somehow. Some of them came over with their parents, some of them didn't. So where do we put them? Like, what happens to them? I've seen stories of kids who have literally been adopted by US parents, and their parents are still in Mexico. Like, hello, do we just not have rights? Like, do we just not get our kid
Wow.
back? Like, and that happens very rarely, I think. And that's
I
good that
haven't heard of it, but I believe that it has happened at some point.
yeah. So it's like, well, what margin of error is okay? If, you know, if we're going to
Something
have
like
this,
that, something like that is unacceptable. Something like that, you
right.
cannot have a margin of error.
And there are other policies where that's the same. That's my stance as well. Like with death penalty, I'm very anti-death penalty.
Okay, we
And
agree on that actually.
yeah, and
And
my
people
question is
and
people
my
who are like,
conservative
well,
followers give me so much trouble
we
for
should
that. They're
we
like,
should we should have it, but only if it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm like, one, this tells me that you have literally never looked at a death penalty case, because nothing in a death
right.
penalty case is ever beyond a shadow of a doubt. And two, there's still going to be a margin of error. So you're going to have to tell me what percentage is okay with you. How many people are you okay with putting to death who didn't deserve it, so that you can have vengeance and revenge on people who do deserve it?
Yeah,
I'm not
and people
denying that
can
they
say
don't
it's
deserve it.
rare. People can say it's rare, but if one out
Still
of every
happen.
1,000 people is falsely convicted and put to death, that is one too many. That's way too many.
Mhm. And
But let me
you just sent a ripple effect through their entire family by doing
Their
that.
entire world is shattered, ruined.
Mhm.
Let me put some comments on the screen. This is actually a good question. Holy shit, hold on. Okay, this is a good question. What makes the bigger difference to you, the actions of the individual or the ideologies? I'm assuming this was in reference to when I said if Rothbard had done something horrible in his personal life, like assaulting somebody, I would be able to separate that from the ideology of like paleo-libertarianism. Um, but if it's like if it's like a part of his actual policy, part of his actual ideology, then that's when I have issues. So what makes a bigger difference? It depends, because I don't like necessarily like look up to many people. Like very, very few people I consider myself in politics, I consider myself a fan of. Ron Paul is one of those people, and
Mhm.
people will try to slander his character and his personal life all the time, and they really can never come up with anything. Like he's pretty,
Mm-mm.
from what I can see, he's pretty much
The
an all around
newsletter.
solid. I
The
was on
newsletter.
his asses about the goddamn newsletter. The newsletter wasn't written by him. It wasn't written by him nor approved by him.
I
I don't
know.
even. Shit was stupid. But yeah, to finish answering your question, Brian, usually the ideology is more important to me because I don't consider myself a fan of these people. I don't care what you do in your personal life. I just want to understand, the full extent of people's ideology. If you put pineapples on pizza, you're just wrong. If you put pineapples on pizza, you're not a real libertarian. I
I
100%
love
agree with
pineapple on
you.
pizza.
You like pineapples on pizza? All right.
I do.
I'm sorry, guys. We have to end
Pineapple.
the broadcast early. Libertarian Redhead has said she is not a libertarian. And by that I mean she says she likes pineapples on pizza. That's weird. It's a fruit.
Pineapple, real bacon, and banana
Bacon's
peppers.
okay.
Just try it.
Oh, I've tried it. I
Salty,
actually used to be a
sweet,
fan of it.
tangy.
That's how
It's
far I've
good.
come. I used to be a fan of it, and then one day it clicked. I was like, "Why am I eating fruit on pizza? This is fucking disgusting."
Tomatoes are fruit.
I'm sorry.
Tomatoes are fruit.
Yeah, but it's in the sauce.
So is avocado. Avocado's a fruit.
I don't eat avocado and I don't eat tomatoes, so you're really barking at the wrong tree here. I don't like fruits. I
You
don't
just
like
admitted it was in the sauce, Olivia.
I don't eat like a whole tomato though. Like I don't eat like people who eat like cherry tomatoes or have like a tomato on their sandwich or anything like that.
I
No.
am a prolific tomato grower, so I'm kind of offended
I
right now.
hate
Am I
that.
in the live stream, right? Just saying.
Yeah, we are gonna we have to, I think we have some
We have some
irredeemable
ideological
differences.
differences about fruits
Yeah,
and
we just can't.
vegetables.
We can get past the immigration disagreement. We can get past everything else, just not this. Um, Brian wanted you to define beyond a shadow of a doubt
Oh, I
or
think he
the
was just
death
saying that
penalty.
that's the most frustrating argument for the death penalty that he sees.
Oh, okay,
That when
cool.
people ask
Yeah,
you to define what shadow of a
okay,
doubt is, it's like, yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, that just goes back to your point. If 0.0001% of people die at the hands of the state when they did not deserve to die, then it's too many. I just don't
Mhm.
trust the government with that power. It's like it's crazy how
We don't
people
even
are like
trust them with potholes on the street. Why would we trust them with life and death? Come
people are
on.
like I hate the cops. People are like it's like the cops is white supremacists, the government's evil, the politicians are pedophiles. But yeah, you guys should have the power to kill us if you deem fit. Like, are you guys stupid or something? Like,
The
don't
police
give
are
that.
corrupt. Let's let the police prosecute us. What?
Let's let the police be the only ones with the guns. Oh,
Makes so much
that's the worst one. That is the worst one. When people, and I'm gonna call my own community here. I hate when there's a huge sector of Black people that have a negative relationship with the police, and I definitely have a negative relationship with the police. But I'm not the idiot out here advocating for the police to be the only ones with the guns. I don't understand that logic. Maybe people just don't think that all the way through or something. But the people who are huge like anti-racism and anti-white supremacist activists and all this kind of shit, it's like I don't know. I just hate
Well,
healing.
somehow,
Yeah.
to me, now this is out from the outside looking in because I'm not part of a minority community unless you consider gingers a
You're a
minority.
ginger.
um, but it seems like to me that almost comes from that idea that, well, if the president is my guy, then
Mhm.
everybody under him, all the way down to the police on the street corner, are going to do what he says, or they're going to align. Like, I don't know. I feel
Which
like
is like
that's kind of,
6-year-old logic, though. I don't
yeah,
understand
it
how
doesn't
the
make sense.
BLM people thought that voting for Biden was going to change the entire fucking like
But
prison,
you know, he
the
has
prison
a
complex.
half black woman as his running mate, so it can't be all bad, right?
Yeah, I don't even get me started on her because I've been calling
It's
her out.
bad.
From one halvesy to another halvesy, I really don't like Kamala Harris. I really think she's fake. She continues to lie. Like, if you're not raised in the black community, just say you're not raised in the black community. Don't say
Mhm,
that Tupac is your favorite rapper alive because he's not alive. Don't say that you were listening to Tupac when you were in college before Tupac's first album even ever dropped. Don't
mhm.
say that you were smoking weed in college when you were locking people up for smoking weed. And don't say that your elders taught you how to celebrate Kwanzaa when Kwanzaa was first invented 2 years before you were born, and your elders are Jamaican and Indian immigrants who are not even American, and Kwanzaa is a Black American holiday. So don't even get me fucking started on Kamala Harris because she
I think you
literally,
already started yourself. I didn't even
yeah,
say
I
anything.
know. That's why I said,
You and
that's why I
Kamala
said,
Harris, me and Woodrow Wilson, like it's the same. It's the same deal.
yeah, it is the same. And
The
it's
same hype energy.
I'm not one of those people that's like, okay, I'll concede, yeah, she is half Black. I'm not going to be like, you can't identify as Black, but you can't identify as somebody who like grew up in this like the
As part
epitome
of
of
the
like Black
culture.
American culture. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not the same. You're Jamaican and Indian, and you should be proud of that. Don't be trying to kind of like steal Black American culture because it's very different than Jamaican culture. It's not better or worse. It's just different.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's weird. How do y'all feel about Rockwell? I don't want to talk about that because I'm not super educated on him per se, but did you want to answer that?
I I'm not super educated on him as far as like his ideology. I've read a couple of articles of his about just very specific policy issues in which I felt he was dead on.
Okay.
But I'm not going to make a judgment call on him like as a like how I feel about him as a person.
Yeah, that's like my same exact view. Like I've read a couple things of his before, but not enough to be like, oh yeah, like I'm a fan or something.
Hmm.
Um, Somebody says I'm white and I have a negative relationship with the police. That's pretty based because the police have a negative relationship with everybody. I don't. I
I
feel like it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was going to say I don't feel like I have a negative relationship with them, but I've had negative experiences with them. When I was 19, I was held at gunpoint by a cop. Like he had his finger on the trigger
For
and
what?
everything for being in a car with a guy who was black. There were four of us in a
You
car.
need to expand on that.
Well, there were four of us in a car. We were all going somewhere. We were in Indianapolis, and we were going to go have dinner, hang out. I was, I mean, I was 19, so we were all around that age. And we were like, well, if we're going to go, we better go now, before it gets super busy downtown. And it was like summer. It was hot. We had all the windows down. We went to go one way out of his neighborhood, and the police had the street blocked, and we were like, okay, what are they doing? Like, all right, we'll just go out the other entrance. So we pulled a U-turn and went out. And next thing we knew, the whole car was surrounded. All of our windows were down. So literally the guns were like right in our faces. And they were just screaming at us to get out of the car and get down on the ground. And the maintenance guy for the community ran up and said, no, 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 it's not him. It's not him. And we were like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I
Oh,
was
like he
crying.
matched the description.
Yep, he matched the description of someone that they were looking for that had been waving a gun around in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I was traumatized by that. I did not want to go near a gun for like a few years after that because it just like that was the first experience really that I had had like that. And it was obviously very negative. So I was very deeply uncomfortable around guns for a couple of years afterwards until a friend was like, all right, I'm breaking of this habit. You're going to come over and you're going to shoot my 22. And I was like,
I
ah.
love a 22. My
And he
favorite gun.
literally, that's what we did. Like, I just went out to his parents' farm and he was like, here you go. Don't shoot yourself. Like, this is how you use it, all this kind of stuff. And we shot guns for a little while, like kind of back towards the woods. And um, after that, I was like, okay, I don't feel like terrified now. I'm definitely not
Mhm.
comfortable with like using it as a tool, but I'm not like freaked out by it.
How are
So
you with guns now?
fine. I go to the
You
range two or
all
three
right,
times
you're
a
a gun
year.
owner now?
I'm not a gun owner yet.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I I took it to heart when people told me don't buy anything until you are positive with the type, the model of gun that you were very comfortable with. So
Mm-hmm.
I made a point to go to the range as many times as I could until I figured out which gun I really liked.
Right.
I figured out which gun I really liked. I'm a SIG girl. I love SIG. They're kind of expensive, so I have not bought one yet.
Yeah, definitely. Another question in the comments. Thoughts on HR 127. That's the gun control thing, right?
I mean, obviously, that's a big thumbs down from me.
Yeah, big thumbs. Any gun control is big. We'll just do this.
Boo.
Wait, we'll do this for the thumbnail, like the promo. Love it. Yeah. Every piece of gun control legislation is an infringement on the Second Amendment. I've talked about this a little bit before, but the thing that pisses me off the most is the fact that I'm a very, very big proponent of legalizing marijuana. I am a very big proponent of medical marijuana. At the very least, decriminalization. I think we can achieve that very easily. And what pisses me off, and I believe this is a federal law. If not, it's definitely in Maryland where I live. But if you have a card like for medical marijuana, you can't own a firearm because
Yeah, I don't
marijuana
agree
is
with that.
it's a Schedule 1 drug.
Yeah,
It's literally marijuana
that's
is like
why I
on the
favor
same schedule.
decriminalization versus
Hmm.
legalization. Because if they legalize it and they want to give you a card and they want you to be on a registry and all that stuff, like then they put you in a position where you have to choose between what could be health care for you, you know, and an anti-anxiety medication or something that helps you with your PTSD or your
Hmm.
depression,
Hmm.
or being able to protect your family.
It's
No one should
bullshit.
ever,
That
no one
pisses me
should
off.
ever have to choose between those two things, their health or their protection.
Exactly. And I'll just say this without incriminating myself. I use marijuana. I don't have a medical card for it, and that's the reason why.
Mhm.
Because I want to be able to
That's
retain my
why the
Second
black
Amendment
market will
rights.
continue to
So
exist.
I right, and I've recognized the fact that if I have over a certain amount, I can go to jail, but I'd rather take that chance than, and
Mhm.
I never have a large amount. I don't want to put that out there like I'm moving weight or something. I'm not. Guys, I don't sell drugs. I'm not doing anything
We're gonna
illegal.
have to edit this later.
I'm literally not even, I just stop incriminating myself. Like the SWAT team is literally about to bust down my door. No, like my point is, I will partake in the use of the plant that is known as cannabis on occasion, and
The plant formerly known as Mary Jane.
right, yeah, it's like I've used THC in multiple forms, is what I'll say, and no, I don't sell, and no, I don't move weight. Anyways, but it's
Moving
insane
on.
because I do shoot guns. I'm a
Mhm.
big proponent of the Second Amendment. I haven't shot a gun in a while. It's probably been about a year. I need to get back out to the
Same.
range. So annoying. I'm kind of like itching for it. Oh my God. Somebody said Olivia got some time to the ground. I don't.
Stop saying that. Oh, and someone else just offered me a gun. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
You're so getting like not monetized on YouTube for this.
No, no, no.
Like those girls are nuts.
Yeah, somebody sent me a super chat so I can fucking pay my bail when I get fucking arrested because somebody
Right.
thinks I'm selling large amounts of weed.
If you guys get
Um,
us arrested, then that means you have to bail us out.
yeah.
That's the rules.
Ooh, we're talking about 3D guns now. 3D printed firearms aren't quite there yet as far as quality needed for them to be as reliable as you want a firearm to be. I find that the concept of it so interesting though. Like I want to see how one is made. I've never seen like a 3D printer in real life or
Oh,
anything.
they're
I don't
so
really.
cool.
How the fuck does it work? I don't
It's
understand. I
like
have
it
no
literally
concept of
just
how.
prints it. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm not alone in not understanding how it works because
No, like
okay.
it's a printer, but it prints instead of using ink, it uses whatever
Is it like plastic?
material you stick in it to print with. So if you printed
How does it like
something,
But like, how do you program it to print anything you want? Does it like
You
scan another
load the
object?
design, like there's special software and everything you get for it, and you can buy a blueprint and load it into your software and then just, I guess, just hit print. I don't know. I mean, printing small things, very simple, like,
I've
little
seen people print
statuettes.
like toys and like figurines and shit
Yeah,
like
I
that,
mean,
but like a whole machine, like a tool with like moving parts and shit.
it takes
I don't.
hours and hours. I mean, it'll take like 16 hours to print like something of
Oh,
substantial
that long?
size. Yeah.
Okay, that's insane. That's the same in Colorado. If you
I'm
have
just trying
medical
to keep you anonymous, okay? Jeez.
marijuana. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a federal law because I think everywhere marijuana is classified as a Schedule One drug. But if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. That's just the case in Maryland at least.
Hmm.
Ooh, new comments. Okay. Libertarians need some organization, strong committed leaders, and very clear-cut goals. Also, a candidate that is actual libertarian, not libertarian light.
We do have a very
Um,
clear goal: elect more libertarians at the local level, and we've been doing very well at it, actually.
Tell me more. Tell me more about that. I have no idea how many libertarians are elected or in elected office or
I
what. Like,
don't know the number
okay,
offhand, but I know
where's
that
my
we have a
phone?
higher than 50% success rate when we run libertarian candidates at the local level. And a lot of times, I mean, I bet that there are libertarians elected to local level in your state. Any of you. Any of you could go look and find a libertarian elected in your
Really,
state
like
this
by
time.
local level, are you talking like school board or like state rep or something?
I'm talking about school boards, city council, county commission, like all of those kinds of races. A lot of times those are nonpartisan races. That's when
Right.
libertarians do the best. Why is that? One, we have really good principles. Two, people aren't paying attention to a party label. To me, that indicates that people actually really like libertarian ideas. What they don't like is having to vote for a different letter than they're used to,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll vote for you when you don't put the L after your name. But they'll also
Can I,
vote for a Democrat or a Republican that doesn't have
yeah.
the D or the R, too.
Yeah, let me say something about that though, because that leads me to my like the main point of the video, like how I see the future of libertarianism. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily see it within the LP, and that's not because I dislike them or think that their ideology is bad or anything. I just feel like most people are tribal, and most people will not, stray away from the R/D, two-party duopoly. So
Mhm.
when I see like Liberty Republicans such as Massey, I don't know how you feel about him, but he gives me hope. I feel
I love
like,
Thomas Massey.
oh great. I feel like he's our best congressman, in my opinion, and that probably by far. Um, and when I see Republicans like that, it gives me hope. Now I know the vast majority are not like that, which is
Mhm.
why I'm an independent. But someday, and I do think I want to run for local office someday, I'm gonna have to run as a Republican to win. That's just my opinion, and that's kind of
Mhm.
where I see liberty advancing more. It's just the establishment is so strong right now. I mean, I don't know if like what your feelings are towards Young Americans for Liberty, but I've been affiliated with them loosely since July, I think. I did a couple campaigns with them, state rep races. And they endorse, not every candidate they endorse is as libertarian as I would like. Sometimes they endorse somebody that's just like promises to lower taxes or something, but they don't care about like criminal justice reform or marijuana. Like I'll criticize them for that, but like some of these candidates are actually good, but the establishment throws everything at them, even though they have the R next to their name. So I just feel
Mhm.
like if they had the L next to their name, it would be even worse, you know?
Well, it goes one of two ways with an L. It's either you get blamed for literally everything. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but Shane Hazel posted a graphic on
I
Twitter
saw it. I
of
followed
that
him. I didn't know who he
slide,
was, but I
and it
followed
was
him
like
after
the
that.
reasons that we lost, and one of them was something about like astroturfing libertarian,
I
like
was
it
like,
was like
how
mumbo
y'all
jumbo, and
blaming
everybody was
everybody
like,
but y'all fucking self?
what does that even mean?
I had no idea.
Someone
I love
created
how they
some,
had his name written up there. I was
I
like, that's kind
know,
of badass. I would love for my name to be written on a whiteboard in
right?
a bitter ass
If
GOP
I got a hold
meeting.
of that and my name was on it, I'd be like, okay, cry harder.
That's a flex. I'd
Okay.
be posting it everywhere too. I'd probably put it on a t-shirt.
He did too. I mean, it was everywhere. But they either use you as the scapegoat for literally everything, or they just do media blackout, which is exactly what we had with Joe Jorgensen. It was media blackout. The only national media that we had for Joe was Kennedy. That's it. We only had Kennedy.
I love
But
Kennedy.
if you followed, we tried to share as many links on the social pages as we could without bogging down the feed with just news links. But in every single stop that she made on her bus tours, there were multiple local news pieces about her in print, on TV, everything. So she got local news coverage. And there were some cities where she had 8 different hit pieces about her. Well, not hit pieces, but like news hits, local, nothing nationally. So they will do a media blackout on you if they decide that they don't like you.
Let me comment on that. And this is the first time I've ever said this, just because I really didn't know if it was a widespread thing or not, but you made me realize that the media blackout is really a thing. So I occasionally freelance for the Daily Caller, and I interned there for a semester last year before COVID fucking ruined everything. And I like the people there. I have no problem with the people there. My editor is great, blah, 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 blah. However, over the summer, I pitched a piece about Joe Jorgensen, and it was approved. And I reached out to her team. Her team got back to me super quick. They gave me exclusive images. They gave me exclusive answers to questions I had asked. They tried to, and then they were very eager to set up like a call to where I could interview her directly instead of just getting some exclusive quotes. I wrote up a draft, and they wanted to have that draft first before I did the interview and maybe publish the interview separately. So I was like, great, I want to get paid double. I'm gonna do this shit. I wrote the draft. It went to my editor. It never ran. Yeah. And it was a good draft. And the thing was, I never even got any feedback on it. It was just literally, it was not on the site. Nobody ever got back to me about it. Every article I pitched after that, it went up on the site. So I don't know if it slipped through the cracks, but I find that unlikely because it's a freaking presidential candidate. Whether it's a small candidate or not, on a big political website, I don't know. I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody here, but I do believe somebody dropped the ball on that because, hey, if my writing was just bad, tell me, hey, we're gonna give this to somebody else, Olivia, or we're just gonna edit it and take some pieces out. But I'm confident in my writing ability, and I'm confident that she would have provided a good interview. And I feel bad because I essentially had to stand them up. Like, I didn't set a time or date, but I didn't have permission to do the follow-up interview, so I couldn't do it, and that really upset me. And I 100% agree with you saying that there's definitely a deliberate media blackout. I'm not saying that the Daily Call in this case, I'm not saying it was in this case, but now that you mentioned it, I'm like starting to think it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that happens a lot with libertarian candidates, and that's why sometimes if you can run as another party, especially if you live in a state that has straight ticket voting, like I've talked about this before with other people. I mean, if you're the only libertarian in that column and it's a straight ticket voting state, especially if it's a general election, people are now forced to choose between giving up voting for president, governor, US Senate, state rep, etc., because they're
A lot of people don't want to do that shit.
And they won't give up voting for 9 other candidates that they might want to vote for or might want to vote against. It just depends, to vote for that one libertarian that's over in the column. Like, that's a really crappy choice for a voter. Like, and I understand that. Like, I understand why they would say it's a straight ticket state. I don't want to do that. So I get it. And it is hard. And that is one of the things that libertarians and other third parties need to work together on and form an issue-based coalition on, is getting rid of straight ticket voting so that voters have more choices and so that they're not suppressed by just the way that the system is set up.
In the meantime, let's say that doesn't happen, or let's say it doesn't happen for a while. Do you believe currently that electing Liberty Republicans is a smarter choice in these states just because people are not willing to give up voting straight ticket?
I mean, it happened for Justin Amash. So we got one of the best we got one of the best federal liberty legislators that we've ever had. Ever. And we got him for 10 whole years. Like, not only did he get elected once, he kept getting reelected. So I can't say blanketly that, oh, it's always a bad choice. because in some states, I think it could be a good choice depending on who the candidate is and what the situation is with the voting laws and ballot access and things like that. There are some states where it's extremely difficult, prohibitively expensive, and takes an incredible amount of time and effort to get on the ballot as a libertarian. And depending on the candidate, it could make more sense. I mean, Michigan is a straight ticket voting state. If he had run as a libertarian, even if he had ran the exact same campaign, made the exact same campaign promises, and had the exact same amount of fundraising, he never would have gotten elected as a libertarian because it's a straight ticket voting state. So I can't say that in all cases it's not a good choice, but I think it can be a good choice strategically depending on the situation.
And I'm sorry, what state are you from again?
I'm originally from Indiana, and I lived in Tennessee for 5 years too. So I have experience with a state where Indiana, the candidates typically get on the debate stage. Donald Rainwater was the Libertarian candidate for governor last year. He was on the debate stage with Republican and Democrat. That turned out really badly for them because he set records with how many votes he got. Tennessee is exactly the opposite.
I did follow that race, and I was very impressed.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? I think sorry, it like cut out for a second. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Oh, I said he's a great guy. And then I also have experience with the other side of the coin, which is Tennessee, where the ballot access laws are so backwards. The target changes every 4 years. Every time there's a new governor elected, they recalculate the number of signatures that you have to have. It's 2.5% of the total turnout in the governor's election every 4 years. So the first time I helped with ballot access in Tennessee, the number of signatures we needed to get was just over 30,000. It was like 33,000 and some change.
Okay.
Currently, you have to get 58,000 and some change.
How is that legal? Why do they keep? I mean,
because
I know why
every state is allowed to make their own election laws, and that's how that kind of stuff happens. That's why Joe was on the ballot in Tennessee, but she was on it as an independent, not a libertarian, because it was impossible to even. Yeah, I mean, we said we have ballot access in all 50 states, meaning she was on the ballot in all 50 states, but she was not on the ballot in Tennessee as a libertarian, and neither was Gary Johnson. He was on there as an independent.
Was that the only state that she was on there as independent as?
Yep.
Okay, I had no idea about that.
Tennessee is terrible with ballot access. And they just, two friends of mine started a nonprofit in Tennessee. It's called For All Tennessee. Josh Eagle and Justin Cornett started it. They were pushing a ballot access bill, and they had a committee meeting last night. They walked in with, I believe Justin said, 4 votes that was enough to carry the motion and get the bill out of committee so it could be openly debated on the House floor. One of their yes votes walked out of the room to go use the bathroom. The vote was called. They still had the majority with him out of the room. The chair of the committee said, basically looked at the votes, realized it was going to carry, and said, okay, it's denied. Like, just unilaterally just said, I'm not passing it on. It's on video.
Wow. I need you to send me that link after we're done. I want to see that.
I absolutely will. Yeah. It's nuts. It's crazy.
That is insane, and it's insane that shit's allowed to happen. Another comment. It happens
all the time.
That's fucking stupid. Ron/Rand Paul, Republicans and Tulsi Gabbard, Democrats should come together. I guess we just need ultra-rich patriots again instead of ultra-rich establishments and globalists. I would love for that to happen, though. Unfortunately, and this happened when Tulsi went on Kennedy, I think last year. Kennedy asked, hey, come over to the Libertarian Party, just drop all the socialist shit. And Tulsi was like, no. So,
well, and
I don't know if that'll happen.
That was a year ago. She was still running in the Democratic primary. For her to say, oh, yeah, if it doesn't work out here in the Democratic, like nobody would have voted.
That is true. That is true. That would have been definitely
strategically, that would have been a terrible move for her at that time.
Yeah.
But I think over the course of last year, after she lost the primary, like she didn't perform well in the primary, and that was totally due to the establishment and Hillary directly, I think.
Oh, for sure. Spreading those lies that she was a Russian agent and all this kind of shit.
Oh yeah, she's distanced herself further and further from some of the things in the Democratic Party platform. And so after she left office, I know she has other priorities right now. I know she wants to start a family, and I think that's awesome.
She'd be a great mother. I want her to be my mother.
I know, like I want her to be my mom. I love my mom, but Tulsi would be a cool mom too. She would be the cool mom. She's the ultimate cool surfer mom. which is
Yeah, I
fantastic.
feel like she could be my cool aunt for sure. That like just surfs
Definitely.
around, brings me cool presents from Hawaii or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, definitely. The aunt that you
But
only see
you bring
once
up a good point.
the
That
aunt
was a
that you
year
only
ago.
see once a year at Christmas, but you sneak out back to go smoke weed with. Yeah, that's her.
Oh, oh my God. Hold on. What my dream blunt rotation? Tulsi Gabbard, Ron Paul. Who else? Who else in my blunt rotation? I'm trying to think. Who's another cool? Oh, Spike. Spike.
Yes.
Um, yeah, okay. I'm literally gonna like tag him in some shit on Twitter and be like, Spike, I need
Okay. I
blunt
think
rotation.
mine is John McAfee,
Oh,
Tulsi,
why can I not say it?
Vermin,
You are you did.
and Marianne Williamson. Like, I want all four of them together. It'd be great.
Marianne, I have a love-hate relationship. I shouldn't say hate. I have a love confusion relationship with her because I am confused as hell at like half the tweets she puts out. I'm just like,
Orb mother. She's orb mother.
yeah, she's definitely a little loony, but I kind of love her. She's very lovable. She's a likable person, I think. Um, yeah, McAfee and Vermin. I don't know why I didn't think of that. I think I
We
had
can
a
just
very,
combine our
very horrible
circles.
lapse in judgment there.
It'll be like that 70s show. We'll just make the circle bigger.
Yeah,
It'll
that's
be
true.
fine.
I love Vermin. That would be great. Somebody said Elon Musk. I have mixed.
Totally.
Honestly, can I say this? I have mixed feelings on Elon. Like,
Elon
I
is
am.
Elon is Tony Stark in real life.
He kind of is. He kind of is. But
Or Bruce Wayne. I can see both arguments.
I see him more as a Tony Stark because Bruce Wayne is more humble and Tony Stark is like all like I don't know, he's all out there and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about his personal life. I just think it's very weird that he married Grimes and they have that little robot baby together. But I
It's
don't
not
know.
a
I think
it's an actual baby.
but it has a robot name, so whatever. Um they name it like a random combination of like numbers and letters and stuff. It
I
was
don't
a
know.
weird
I think they just call him X.
yeah, something like that. Um, but yeah, nothing against the guy. I just like I don't know. Don't act like you're
I'd smoke
self-made when
weed
you
with
share
him. I wouldn't say no. If he was
his
sitting
time.
next to me and he was like, here, I'd be like, okay.
I think I'm just salty because my Tesla stock is doing really shitty. So I'm really
So is
bitter
his
about
stock. I mean, he lost what, 21 billion or something like that, like in a week.
yeah. Yeah.
So
I guess first of all, my stock profile is very diverse. I only put like a little bit in like in each thing. So my $10 going to $7 is not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's not the worst. However, my GameStop is doing very well, and I'm very pleased with it.
my
Um,
Raytheon stocks are doing great.
I need to get in on that shit. I need
It's
to get
going
in on
up.
that.
It's going to go up even more.
So it's a good time to go in, you think?
I mean, before it gets any higher, yeah, I would.
Yeah, I'm waiting way too
For
long. What do
legal
you?
purposes, this is not actually financial advice.
Yeah. Uh, what app or service do you use?
Cash App.
Oh, okay, me too. I was hoping you were gonna say that because I feel like such a noob for using Cash App and everyone has all these like fancy fucking I'm like, fuck, it's easy. I have
It takes
everything.
forever to set up those new apps. Like
I know. They like
there's
need your fucking
waiting
social
periods, there's
security number, all
limits,
this shit. I'm
everything.
like,
And
I'm
I'm
not
like, I've already
yeah,
had Cash App. Like, I'll just use it. It's fine. But they don't
yeah.
have every single stock in Cash App to
I
buy.
know that annoys me
That does
because
annoy
there's a
me.
bunch of shit I want that's not on Cash App.
Yeah, there is.
But
Like
Roblox
they
just
only have,
became
I
a
think, like
public.
two or three cannabis stocks, and I was like, I wanted to buy
Yeah,
more.
I know. I looked into that and I was like, and then I looked into making before everything, all the drama went down with all these different apps shutting down and shit. I did have a Robinhood at some point, but I never used it because I couldn't fucking figure it out. Um,
Same. And then all that shit went down, and I was like, okay, bye.
yeah, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna step
More
away
like Sheriff
from.
of Nottingham, better rebrand.
That's pretty funny. Um, but I was gonna say that the fucking company Roblox just became publicly traded yesterday, so of course I had to jump in on some Roblox. I've never even played
I'm
that.
super excited about that. I actually bought a little bit of Roblox stock and I was like, this is for you. because he loves the game. Like he
Uh-huh.
loves Roblox. So I'm
Okay,
just like, all
I don't
right.
even know what it is because in my mind, is it like similar to Minecraft? Because I've played
No,
Minecraft. It's not.
no.
Okay, I don't know what it is.
Roblox is like a game library is the best way to describe it. And it's not a library of
That
like
literally
it's
leaves
not
me
a
with no
library of
idea
like Super
what
Mario
it is.
Brothers and Sonic and different things like that. It's a library of games that have been independently developed. So they're not like EA games or anything like that. They're like small independently owned or developed games, and they get loaded up
Oh,
into Roblox, and then you can try to play different ones. You
I
can
had
just kind
no
of
idea it
save
was
your
like that. I thought it was.
favorites.
I literally thought it was one thing, like
No,
one game.
no, it's a
Wow,
game
I'm dumb.
library
I invested
basically.
in that shit. I didn't even know what it was then. I
I had to
literally
do the
thought,
due diligence as a parent because he was obsessed with it, and I was like, "What exactly is this?"
just guessing from the name, I thought you like build shit with blocks, so I thought it was like
I can see
Minecraft.
that, yeah.
Oh my god, I'm dumb. Brian says, Cash App isn't authorized to trade on all exchanges. I don't even know how that
Oh,
shit works. I don't even know how
we just want to buy the stonks, okay?
stocks to the moon. That's really all I know. Like the
Doge.
99% of the shit I
Why can't I
know
buy
about stock
Doge on Cash App? That's
that
what I want to know.
that is literally the reason I even set up my stock profile on Cash App was to get Doge and I couldn't even get it. I was like, what the fuck? Marianne Williamson would be a great mother-in-law. I'll pass on anything else.
She would be the best
You're telling me you
mother-in-law.
wouldn't have Marianne in your blunt rotation because you're tripping, actually. She
Yeah,
would
that
be a
is.
good mother-in-law. She was very sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like she's kind of like a witch in a good
She'd
way.
be
Like,
like unintentionally helpful, I feel like.
yeah, she would definitely give you some weird advice, but every once in a while she'll drop like this like gold nugget of knowledge, and you'd be like, huh,
I was like,
wow.
okay, this makes sense. But
Yeah,
honestly, if she was your mother-in-law, that means you married her offspring. And like, could you imagine how weird they would be?
yeah, that's actually I I can say definitively.
Adopted mother-in-law. Let's go with
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. Does she have kids?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know if Marianne has kids, but whoever they are, I don't think I want to meet them because they're probably weird as fuck. But but I would love to meet her. But Tulsi would definitely be my choice if I had to pick like a politician mom. Oh my God, I need to stop. I'm literally always on Twitter like, stop worshiping politicians, and here I am trying to pick my fucking celebrity mom out of politicians. What is wrong with
We could talk about something less fuzzy.
me? Well, we are coming up on an hour, so I would like to invite anyone who is still in the chat, ask any questions, make any comments you're about to make.
Careful, don't open
Other
that
than
door for them.
I mean, I'm just trying to get this over with because I don't want to be on live when the SWAT team busts down my door, because I literally incriminated myself. Um, but do you have any final thoughts to leave us with? And let me put up your Twitter so people from my channel know where to find you. But can you leave us with
It's
any
actually Libertarian Red 1.
Am I fucking dumb? Hold on.
No, you're fine.
I'm literally let me edit it. Hold on. Just the red, not redhead.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's so many of us.
Oh wait, I didn't even ask you about that. What is the deal? Why is everybody libertarian redhead? What is it?
I honestly
You guys
don't
have a group
know.
chat? Do you guys have a group
Okay,
chat?
so like I said, I started my page at the beginning of 2017, and I looked for Libertarian Redhead. Like I just typed in Libertarian Redhead to see if it already existed on Facebook, and it didn't. And I joined Twitter, I think later that same year, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, there are other Libertarian Redheads? Like I was not aware
I've
of
counted
this.
like 5, and they all have big accounts too. So I'm like, do y'all's followers know y'all are different people? Like that always.
Sometimes no. Like sometimes I get tagged in stuff and people are like, "Oh wait, no, that's not the right one." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah,
Um
because I just saw that
you
Josie,
see,
the redheaded libertarian, just got banned, and people were freaking out over which one that actually got banned. Um,
yeah.
is there beef? Do you guys have beef
I
with
mean,
all of
no.
the libertarians? Oh, there's not like a turf war.
No. I think she thought that there was, but I was just like, "I'm over here doing my thing. You're over there doing your thing." Like
Oh,
there's some
really?
overlap, but like we're different people, so I don't care.
I don't know if she said anything about it. I definitely saw like some people's followers being like, "There's too many redheaded libertarians. I don't know which one to follow." Blah, 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 blah.
Follow
Um,
all of them. Duh.
yeah, literally, I
I've
follow.
literally never heard the complaint that you can have too many redheads in your life. So whatever you're all doing, just follow all of them.
I honestly think it's interesting how you said earlier you're not a minority, but I feel like the fact that being redhead is such an identity thing for you guys, I think y'all do qualify as a minority.
I feel like, well, I feel like redheads are like genetically predisposed to defy authoritarianism.
Maybe you're right.
So I feel
There's
like, I mean, every single Liberty event that I go to, whether it's a convention,
like an
YalCon,
abnormal amount of
anything,
redheads there.
I'm always like, oh, there's like a bunch of redheads here. And I did say something to a redhead that I saw at YalCon in 2019. Like I was just like, I said something to him about that. I was like, hey, have you counted how many redheads are here? And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of us. And I was like, it's like this at every event. And he was like, huh. And I was like, I don't know. I just embrace it. I think it's great.
Oh, cool. Maybe I should change my username to like Have the Libertarian or some shit.
There were a bunch of
Um,
people that changed theirs after Josie got suspended, and they were like, I'm the actual real libertarian redhead.
oh my God.
I didn't because
Okay.
obviously mine's already bad.
Yeah. Libertarian president, what does it say, 2028? Are they asking, is there going to be a libertarian president or who should we put on the libertarian ticket for 2028?
I don't know. That comment is very vague.
First of all, I'm going to answer both ways that I interpreted your question. I don't think there's going to be a libertarian president in 2028. And for the next libertarian ticket, I would definitely, there's a few people I would support. And I don't think it would, I mean, like I said, I'm not a member of the LP, but I'm going to expand that question to include Liberty Republicans. Like I said before, I love Massey. I used to not like Justin Amash, but I am partial to him now. I
Mhm.
feel like I took his aggression the wrong way, and I think he comes across as kind of like a snob to some people because he's very absolutist about things. But now I see that he's just very aggressive about liberty, and I can respect that in a way. Um,
Mhm.
who else? Rand Paul.
He was also elected in the Tea Party wave too.
Mhm.
So that was when the Republican Party was initially really friendly um, to libertarian conservatives.
Yeah, then the establishment took over. Um,
And that was another thing that I experienced here in Indiana. I helped start one of the very first Tea Party groups in Indiana, like one at the county level.
oh, really?
And it only took 3 months before the far Christian right took over the group. And I was like, I'm out because this is
What
not
do they do? Do they like change a bunch of shit or like
just,
what?
they didn't change anything consciously, but they took it more in the direction of what would now be considered the alt-right. And I was totally not comfortable with that. Like, I was just like, no, that's not what this was.
Why do
They
they do
were,
that? Why do they take the liberty thing and just turn it into like some I don't know, that's like some weird shit. Like it's like the people, this is the one thing that I'll be like, you're not a real libertarian. It's like the people who are always like fucking back the blue, thin blue line. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude,
it's the people
they
that have "Don't
don't
Turn
worship
on
the
Me"
agents
and
of
Thin
today.
Blue Line stickers on their car at the same time. And I'm like,
Bruh,
you
the
moron.
cognitive dissonance. Literally the irony. And when I'm door knocking, when I'm door knocking with Yao, I remember, I'll literally never forget this. This one house had these giant, like three giant flag poles in the front yard. Confederate flag, MAGA flag, American flag, thin blue
Ooh.
line flag, Gadsden flag. And I was like, what is the message they're
You're
trying
like,
to
you all
get?
need to decide because this is too
I'm like,
much.
Confederate flag, thin blue line. Like, bro. And the funniest part about the Confederate flag obsession that some Republicans seem to have is that a lot of Republicans, it's the same type of people that are like, Democrats are the party of slavery, Democrats are the party of racism. I'm like, then why do you have a fucking Democrat flag then? What is your problem?
Hmm.
Uh, another, where is that comment? Oh, tortillas, corn or flour. I will eat any type of tortilla. I like tortillas.
Both.
Yeah, I don't even know which one I prefer. I guess corn. Corn's a little bit more flavorful.
Corn
Um,
tortillas are good for things like street tacos. Flour
mhm.
tortillas are the best for burritos.
That's true. And I prefer flour if I'm making like a quesadilla or something. Tim Pool should be the Libertarian Daily News. Joe Rogan would be the Libertarian 60-minute in-depth interviewer, and Project Veritas would be the Libertarian investigative reporting. Is Joe Rogan a Libertarian? I thought he was liberal. I don't know. I don't know. I don't listen to
He
Jerry
said
that much.
he voted for Gary Johnson and he voted for Joe Jorgensen.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
So I
I
don't
didn't
know,
know that.
like, so if that's your criteria, if that's enough for you to say that he's a libertarian,
I
then
I thought he voted. I thought he voted for Biden. I don't know who put that in my head, but I'm gonna give him credit.
he endorsed Joe Biden at one point, and then when someone asked him
okay.
after the fact, like, well, who did you end up voting for? He said, I voted for Joe Jorgensen.
Okay, well, I guess he put that in my head that he voted for Joe Biden, but he really didn't. Is the rise of libertarianism tied to the rise of authoritarianism? Yeah. I think this is just my opinion, but I think we're gonna see a lot of growth in the liberty movement and in the LP because of the COVID lockdowns or the CDC lockdowns, the quarantine shit. The fact that people got arrested for going to church, arrested Shelley Luther, that chick who ran for state rep in Texas, she got arrested for opening her hair salon and she spent the night in jail or 3 days in jail or some shit like that. And this is why I hate Greg Abbott. He's not a liberty Republican. I don't know why people are always like sucking his dick. Like literally, he's the one that put Shelley Luther in jail.
Yeah, and there were people that were like, "Oh, Governor Abbott lifted the order,"
and millions of dollars trying to make sure that Shelley Luther did not win, slandering her. I mean, I can't. Oh my God! Please,
no, get out. I mean, if you want to lose, sure.
I have nothing to say to this comment.
Honestly, like, if your goal is to not win another election, then by all means, that's the ticket you want to pick.
Also, I do want to respond to this comment. The Confederate flag stands for states' rights. The states' rights to do what? The states' rights to do what?
Right.
What were they? The states' rights to do what? No one can ever answer that question. I'm just saying. No one can ever answer that question. The states' rights to do what? Yeah, to own slaves. Okay. I'm not saying everyone who has like a Confederate flag is a racist, because a lot of people do use it for like just saying they're from a southern state or whatever. But the Confederacy, the whole argument that the Civil War or the Confederacy was just fought over the states' rights. I'm just like, to do what? To infringe on the non-aggression principle, to infringe on the NAF, to infringe on people's bodily rights and property rights.
Bodily autonomy, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that that is one area in which the federal government should stop people from doing that. Like,
yeah,
if there is,
I think the government has,
you would expect the government to step in on a genocide, right? So why wouldn't you expect them to step in on that? Same thing.
Precisely. But we're past hour now, so I am gonna wrap it up. Have you said everything you have to say? Also, plug your Facebook page, plug your podcast, whatever you got going on. Make sure people know where to follow you.
You can find me on YouTube at Libertarian Redhead. You can find me, there's my Twitter handle on the screen. You can find me on Facebook as Libertarian Redhead. It's the page with about 40,000 followers. It is not verified though, because Facebook hates me. And I'm also currently banned from live streaming for 30 days. So that's been super fun. Yeah. They got really mad about a meme I posted like 2 years ago.
What was it? Was it really bad? Was it offensive?
It had little small people in certain uniforms from a country in Europe called Germany.
Okay.
And they were small people. And so it said they were only a little racist. I thought it was hilarious. But it's from like 2 years ago, and they got mad about it. So I can't stream for 30 days. That's
pretty,
it was
on the record, I cannot endorse that meme, but off the record, I 100% endorse it. I think that's funny. But with that, thank you guys for tuning in. On Sunday, I believe, I haven't confirmed the time yet. It's probably going to be the same time. I'm having Reed Coverdale on if you guys would like to come back and check that out.
Reed is also in our Unity Coalition too, so he'll probably have some stuff to say about
that too. I'm going to ask him about that too. Otherwise, you guys have a great night. Thank you for tuning in.